anyone who's ever tried to look up a recipe online.
Oh my God.
And it starts off with this
I don't need
it was all started one day in Italy. Blah, 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 like, just show me the damn recipe.
That's why they got smart, because they know that some people are like, I'm not coming to your website anymore until like you just give them a recipe, and then they have jump to recipe at the top. Like, you know, it's like, because no one's going to sit around for your dumb story. You just want to make some like carbonara. Okay.
Or you know what? At least if you give us the option to not sit around for your dumb story, we might actually read your dumb story
later after, like, it's a good recipe. Where did she get this?
Yeah, I care about this person. I'm invested in who they are.
Or even just like, thank you for doing that. I'm now going to take the time as a thank you and read your dumb story.
Yeah. See, guys, it matters.
Your dumb stories matter.
All us authors will take a pity read.
That's what we need to do. We just need to put a recipe at the back of our book, and people will read it afterwards.
Yeah, that's a new line in the table of contents. Jump to recipe.
Coconuts.
Cluck, cluck.
That's the sound that coconuts make.
That's the sound your coconuts make.
Miss Swan from Med.
Man, I like Miss Swan. Like, that's Alex Bornstein.
Oh.
Yeah, she did an Asian woman, and of course, back in the 90s, you could do that.
Yes.
Well,
she is
still
Asian.
can. It's called acting.
I'm pretty sure she's like half Mongolian.
I thought she was like Polish. Like,
that's the other half.
I could do Asian. I'm half.
Technically, I'm gonna stop you.
It's called acting.
Yeah, it's true.
Acting. Anybody? Nope.
There are white Asians.
There are white Asians.
It's true.
They're called Asians.
Are they almost? Oh. Southeast Asia.
Yeah, they're like the...
Most of Russia is white Asian.
Oh, sure.
I always forget that Russia's
part
Asia.
of Asia. Yeah.
And they're right next to Turkey.
Turkey, eh?
Yeah,
and you say you didn't know the countries of the world song.
Yeah.
No, I just know the countries of the world.
Yeah, no. Gosh, smarty.
Yeah, but if you can't do it in song form, do you really know it?
Do you really know?
I mean, well, like we could do it not like we could do that on our live stream. Just do like a test.
Oh my gosh! To see
what's this country? You know?
Oh, Joe.
Oman.
You guys will pick all the Pacific Islands for me, won't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what is this? That's Bali. It's an island off of India, isn't it?
It was Indonesia. It's in Indonesia.
Which is in India. Indonesia.
This is like your Australia
to Bards and Belvedere.
Yes. She's not going to let me get away with that. I was like, just move on. Welcome to Bards and... Look at it, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Bards and Balladeers. Here we talk about narration, story, in all its forms. I am Rio.
I'm Oscar.
I'm Kate.
We got it right, even though we didn't practice it this time.
How did we get right who we are?
Well, the order of operations, man. There's the order of operations. Welcome. We are the podcast that we've already described, but today we are talking about background and lovely called Here's a Story of a lovely lady.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so we're just kind of going through and thinking about why and how backgrounds for characters are important. And we talked a lot about other things around characters and world building and all this stuff. But now we just want to really get into, when you create a character, their origin, their background, why that's so important and how we develop it and where we go, where we start and stuff like that. So,
yeah. How much do we need? How little is okay to get away with?
Yeah.
How much can you put in without it being overwhelming and overbearing?
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like the archetypes episode that we talked about, like archetypes can be done like in a very heavy handed way or in a very like delicate and subtle way where, a cowboy is a cowboy, but they're in space. So they look a little different.
How do you know when a cowboy's not a cowboy? I have no finish to that joke.
Does he have a horse?
That's what I've heard.
but I personally, I love these character type episodes. Shocker, being that character is slowly becoming one of my, not just the favorite, but like world building is, adding up to it. But I'm just finding how much those actually intertwine with one another. Like, because obviously your character needs a world to be in, and the world determines their backstory and where they come from and who they are. And so I just think it's such a fun, like, what am I trying to say? Like a A series.
Intersection. No,
Oh.
I don't know.
If I don't know the word, it's intersection.
Everyone
No,
take a drink.
but series. Yes, I think we're building on like to make a cool series here.
Yeah, and I think talking about character archetype, sometimes character archetype fills in for a lack of background. You just make them that archetype and go with it.
That's
back
true.
to the cowboy explanation. It's like
you're the DPS.
Yeah, that too. But your cowboy example is just like if they're cowboy, they're probably from the West. They probably have a certain kind of like swagger to them or something that keeps them wanting to be like a more outdoorsy kind of person. Just you're right. So you probably know where they come from. Like, or if they talk in accents, actually, like an accent can also describe a background.
Like some kind of Southern or even like Latino or there's all kinds of mixtures out West, Southwest,
True.
out West.
It sounded almost like you're
I don't
Russian.
know what accent that was.
But I do like to think though that archetypes really do fill in the gaps of the topic that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So this is almost like the antithesis to archetypes in a way of, like Oscar said earlier, how much do we need to actually write for backgrounds to make them like effective characters?
And, I often see backgrounds being filled in retroactively, especially in TV series. So it's like you start with an archetype, and then when you're going a little deeper and suddenly it matters to explore why they are that way, then we invent a backstory.
Well,
and if good storytelling is good storytelling, it doesn't have to happen in a particular order. You just don't want it to seem contrived,
right? Or obvious that you're like, no, they just made that up. Right. I mean, but to counter that just a little bit, it's like sometimes it is that discovery through the writing process that develops the character and everything, because you might think about how those connections were made or why he's doing this or whatever as you're writing. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just like you said, you got to make sure that like if you're going to do that, then maybe make it in a way that doesn't seem like you just thought up in the moment, Well,
and it makes sense if you're writing, say, from first person, because the way you encounter people is first you see their behaviors and then you see patterns for their behaviors, which can give you maybe an archetype, but you don't see the reasons for that until you get to know them. Now, some people share a lot early on, but people who don't, people who hold that stuff in more and you get to know them over time, their background's not going to become clear until later, after you've already sort of pegged them as a protector or as a whatever, whatever archetype they might be. So in terms of like the evolution of revelation of that character, that makes a lot more sense from like a first person standpoint.
Yeah. And also like, it's also interesting to see how similar backgrounds can lead to different results in characters, depending on how that, they live their lives or how that was shown to them or what have you. I can't think of a good example right now. So
I can.
Oh, can you really? Okay,
yeah.
Tell me.
Well, I know this is again from Lost.
Yeah, I was thinking about the
favorite.
At one point, I know Sawyer. He's explaining. This is a season 6, sideways timeline thing. But he's explaining to someone that with the trauma that he'd been through, and like someone shooting his father shooting his mother and himself when he was a kid or something. He's like, at some point, he knew he was either going to be an outlaw or a cop.
Oh,
and in the one timeline he's an outlaw, and in the other timeline he's a cop.
Are there multiple timelines in Lost?
It's just a season 6 side timeline thing, which is what aggravated people about the ending. So
okay, I don't think I can have.
But at the same time, it's still a valid take.
Sure,
right. I do like that distinction. Yeah. And there's a whole, Marvel, series actually about that too, with the multiverse and whatnot.
It's sort of like he's either way, I'm going to be obsessed with crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. I'm obsessed with crime.
Yeah. Obsessed with having it or stopping it. Just like people who are really promiscuous or really repressed. It's like, when what way are you obsessed with sex?
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it to avoid it or lean in?
As much, yeah.
And similar to how I think we see this in like psychological thriller, crime, so more crime driven, where the person trying to solve the serial killer case is also very similar to the serial killer themselves.
Yes,
Again, I wish I had an example too. I feel like it's on at least once a season on NCIS or like.
Gotta understand
It
that.
happens
Right.
almost every episode of Forever Night.
Oh, really?
Because he's an 800-year-old vampire who's a cop.
Oh.
And so he can always relate to the perpetrators, but also,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's done or been like around that enough to know. Yeah.
well, and dealing with that internal compulsion.
Sure.
And a lot of the perpetrators have some kind of compulsion.
So do you think then that makes him a more compelling character to like come back and watch, again and again?
I think it does. It also makes the show in general more compelling because it leads to more world building because you get to see all the flashbacks from 800 years of encounters that he's had that relate to the current situation. So you get all the costuming and everything with that too.
Okay, that's
Kinda cool.
fun.
Yeah.
I like that. That, it does leave more room, more opportunity for a lot, not just like the character themselves or for us to connect with the character,
Right.
but for us to have fun in that world and, escapism or just discoverism. That's not a word.
Discovery.
Discovery.
I
Yeah.
like discoverism.
Discoverism.
That's my ideology.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really what we're trying to get to with this topic too is, the more robust a background, the more fun the thing is to experience.
Hmm.
I have to be
Yeah.
careful with that because crime is not like fun to experience,
Well,
in visual or reading format.
It's fun. I mean, the people who are, true crime is one of the biggest types of podcast out there.
True.
And so it is fun for the listeners.
That is
That
true.
there's something they get out of it that they love, they keep coming back for.
Yeah, I don't know if visceral is the right
little
word
bit.
for it.
It's like watching
depending-
a car crash, I think.
Yeah.
People are like, ooh, that's terrible, but I want to keep watching because
Right,
part of
right.
me actually does like this, and I'm just like, I like to pretend to be above it, but like, I'm just going to keep my foot on the gas and eyes forward. And,
there's
Yeah.
to that, there's this video. It's a little off topic, but of this where they do crash tests on like cars and stuff like that, and they did one for a pylon that could withstand like a truck running into it.
yeah.
And this one person, I've seen it and like crashes, just crumples around it, and it's just really cool video. But there's one where he keeps on cutting it right before he's gonna like hit the pylon, and they have different angles. So it's like, oh, they're just kind of showing all the different angles to make it suspenseful, and it never hits the pylon, and it just like pisses me off.
That
every time.
anticipation.
I've seen someone made a video like that for Facebook once, and I posted it, and I had a few people say, you absolute bastard, because it was different things. It was like a bottle spinning through the air about to hit a wall
And it never hit
never
it.
does. And
Yeah.
then something else falling on the floor. And then like, maybe a bullet flying through the air. Like nothing ever impacts. And they're
Yeah.
like, I hate you so much. I need that completion.
You're
right. That is a very human tick. I won't lie. Like, because it's the same thing like in music. I don't want to tangent too much.
Yeah, I
Like
apologize.
we
That was
want
me.
chords
Yeah.
and stuff to resolve. Like it's a human nature thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be like something for another episode.
But
Let us know.
you do see it with musical themes though.
Yes.
Backgrounds is
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
it's like when someone's theme comes in, like in a soundtrack,
Yes.
but then maybe it's a different variation on it or something. It's like, it's bringing their musical background into the current scene.
Mm-hmm.
So you
And
can
telling a
see it.
story on its own.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the way how they tell it. Yeah, definitely. Because then you can tell like, because excuse me, almost like when you have a theme for, let's say, Captain America or whoever, and it's this bright, cheery, marching kind of tempo, whatever. And then if they play that again, but like, let's say you never heard that song before and you hear it, but it's like more mellow and somber because now he's lost a bunch of people or something that's been like after the blip. Like you can do that, tells a background too. Is like this time is now sad because of how they use that music. So again, as a literal background, but also as a thematic thing.
I
Yeah.
like that a lot, actually. Music driven, but
Thank
that
you.
music can be used to add to a background of a character.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot of fun, especially like, as we were talking about before this episode and brainstorming and whatnot, you brought up Darth Vader.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, huge musical theme, huge, like lots of musical elements add to his character because there was so much mystery to it prior to us learning who he actually was. And that's one thing. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but talking about villains within this topic and how sometimes more backgrounds actually ruins the villain character.
I agree.
But like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead because I think we still have a lot more to sort of dig up with backgrounds and how beneficial they can be to not just our heroes, but also like side characters too. And how I'm going to bring it up, Oscar, Lord of the Rings, how they're like, we were talking about there. Yeah. There's so many characters in there, but not all of them have like the most in-depth backgrounds, like you were saying.
Right. Well, it's funny because it almost seems like the more overpowered a character is in Lord of the Rings, the less of a background we're given for them.
Oh.
Really? Like, I feel like they should give them more to explain why they're so like overpowered.
Right. But I think maybe part of it is because the ones who aren't so overpowered are more relatable. And so it's like easier to it's easier to relate to a background for them and like have them go from like normal to like just a little bit of courage goes a long way with them. Whereas everyone else is just like, whatever. They're just godlike. Who cares what their background is?
That's who they are. Like, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Cause I mean, how do you describe the background of a god to somebody and have somebody relate to a god?
It's because of the unknown we made these gods in the first place. So obviously their backstory, like we make up the backstory because we want to make them, epic and like these grand forces or whatever. And like
what he means to say is they're all real.
Yes.
Don't
every
yuck
single
anybody's
one.
yum.
So
I'm giving the Galaxy Quest answer.
Yeah. It's all real. All of it. I knew it.
But yeah, you're right. It's like, a lot of it comes from these questions, like even questions the audience has, let alone with the questions we have about reality that we, put like, well, this God will explain this, or here's a cool story about how that might work or something.
Right.
Which is how we mostly look at mythology.
Yeah. People are creative. People have been telling stories forever. And why not all these other stories about Zeus and Zeus on the loose?
Yeah, exactly. And with Tolkien, you're not going to get those backgrounds unless you dig into the appendices and like Lost Tales and all that kind of stuff.
You got to really want it.
Yeah. Most of Aragorn's background is in the appendices. Like a lot of dwarf background is in the appendices. Of course, I'm a nerd, so I like reading the appendices because of course I would.
What else would you do?
Right.
Yeah.
So my question is then, because of that, like, that as we develop these stories in these worlds and everything, and we start, because even I'm doing this too, where it's just like every time I do a new book, I'll make new creatures, or I'll try to think of new ways to use the magic or stuff like that without breaking the magic, of course, because that's also like a faux pas. I hate that. But that when it comes to fruition, you do everything and then you bring it back, you do second editions, or like, let's say it becomes a movie or a TV show. Like, is that not a good way to fix and make amends for some of the stuff that you may or may not have done? Like, so now you have a full background and now it is more complete.
Yeah. And I think that the essence of what I feel like you're getting at is, do we really need to apologize for retconning a background?
Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's wrong.
But a lot of the time I feel like, I feel like it is right. Like that it's okay. Because I've talked before about like fine tuning that microscope focus to like, here's what the level that you need in detail.
Yeah.
And then the rest is blurry. Sometimes you do have to shift focus and then you find, what, I actually need to make up more background for this.
Sure.
And I want it to not conflict with existing story. And maybe there can be things in there that open future doors. And some of that might seem a little contrived, but if you're approaching it in good faith, I don't think you have to worry about how that looks.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you ever get that giddy feeling from creating extra really cool background and you're like, oh, this is going to be so cool later. And I hadn't planned this from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's a valid approach. And I think it's not even just valid, but I dare say necessary for sometimes.
I agree, especially because as you develop as an author or as a writer, as a creator, you eventually get better at the craft too.
Yeah.
And so a character that you might have created when you first started writing or first started creating, you naturally can then think of more and create more for that character as you grow. And I think to limit the opportunity for potentially retconning would be like a disservice to yourself too. Mm-hmm. But again, like Rio, you were saying, it depends on the character, or it depends on like what you're doing to retcon the character's background.
Yeah. And I know also, like, this is also, there's nothing wrong with writing your story and as like a draft, like even like your first time doing anything, just write a story, do whatever, because by the end, you're probably going to find new things that you just didn't know about the characters, or you're discovering what have you. Because even when we started doing like our preface for our sci-fi, like we knew we wanted these three characters and we kind of like, okay, they're all here on the ship and they're but we didn't know why they were on the ship at first.
Mhm.
And just recently we came up with like some fun ideas
Mhm.
that like, oh, we could even write backstories for these people. So we started like making those ideas for the backstories, not maybe fully fleshing them out, but having that background so that you can reference or use that in the future production of that book.
Mm.
Yeah.
I will say, one of my most fun examples of character background, again, my background is from role playing. So I started having people create characters with backgrounds. And one guy, like this was going to be a big campaign centered around like the various interconnected thieves guilds.
Sure.
And there was intersection with different other forces because the thieves guilds were mostly working for other networks of like, this is all organized crime to one degree or another. But anyway, one guy, like he's writing up his background. So he's from a noble house in this one major like city state. And I'm like, well, which noble house? And I give him like in the book, there's a detail about all these noble houses and he picks one and he's writing his background about, oh, his uncle who's kind of, you know, like he doesn't really know his uncle as well or whatever. And there's his sister and who does this and his brother and all that. And then at one point I do a little more research about this noble house he's from. And I find, oh, one of his uncles by marriage is actually like this sort of like pirate lord who's like masquerading as somebody else. And he marries into this family. And he discovered this during play and it worked out beautifully. So it's like, this wasn't contrived. This was purely accidental, but it came about because I insisted on these characters having backgrounds.
Right.
And that, I mean, once he discovered that, he's like, I ran that whole session off the cuff and it worked out. And he's like, you may have run that off the cuff, but that was fantastic.
Awesome.
And you can bet if I ever write those up, that's going to be a big part in there.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching and listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music. To check out our work and our schedules, click on the links in the description below and read our latest updates there or on our website at bardsandballadeerspodcast.com. We hope you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and definitely reach out to us on Discord. And now, back to the show.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of utility to just like leaving room for happy accidents. Leave an unused corner in your sandbox.
Well done. Yes.
So the cat can leave a happy accident.
Ugh.
Well, somebody's happy about it. Maybe probably these dogs.
Yeah.
You can't see them.
They can't see them. Maybe we'll post a picture of
those
them.
chihuahuas.
Yeah. Too many chihuahuas. That's how many.
Those chihuahuas locos.
Hey,
Wait.
only I can do the accent. I'm just kidding.
Damn it, I've been down to Colombia.
You can't even do it, so I'm not gonna.
He's right. I cannot do a Spanish accent to save my life.
You cannot do Puss in Boots.
No, it sounds French.
Yeah.
What's the background of that character?
He smokes cigarettes.
You cannot do Puss in Boots.
I can remember the Puss in Boots.
That was not Colombian by the way. That was very Mexican.
They're all like Hispanic Mexicans. Everybody south of the border is Mexican.
I think Puss in Boots is specifically Spanish, though. That's for another episode.
Yes.
But
Gazpacho.
But very good point, Oscar. You know, that too little or too much backstory really does make a difference.
Perfect segue.
And I know, like I know one of the books and movies. It's a book and a movie that I really enjoy the backstory in is K-Pax.
I've been trying to last like 2 weeks to get her to watch this movie.
Oh,
it's been
okay.
Than that.
I will not talk too much about it then, but I will say if you read the book, you get even more detail.
Sure.
And it you can get it from the movie too, but they really like spell it out more in the book of like, oh, there's this going on because of this in the background and everything. So that whichever way you take it, like at the end of the movie or the book, there's a fundamental question about the main character they don't answer.
I love ambiguous endings.
Well, you'll get one out of that.
Excellent.
But it's done so well.
Right.
I do love that movie very much.
But if you accept one possibility, which is, you know, like he's not or whatever, then it's then you get like the whole clinical explanation for why.
Right.
Cut based on background.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
I'm
glad I haven't seen it then, because that sounds like a good example.
Yeah. We'll watch it soon. Maybe this weekend.
Sure.
Yeah, I won't spoil it. It's one of my favorite movies. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you got a good taste. Thanks for recommending.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no problem.
But I do think that space does leave room, like Oscar said, for happy accidents. And so it's almost like how we've talked about before with world building, that you don't need to tell everything that you created as an author for the story. you choose to tell what's needed to tell the story. The fourth, pillar that we talk about. But I think with character, there is such a fine line between too much and too little.
Right.
And I think I do prefer characters that are sort of ambiguous, like they're not fully like written out. There's just enough room to sort of make your own interpretations of what's happening. Like, for example, this is a villain, but like the Joker from The Dark Knight, I love that we almost know nothing about him, despite, from the comics and everything, knowing so much about him. But in that specific movie,
he lies. Like he keeps making up new backstories.
Is that the Heath Ledger Joker?
Yes.
Yeah. Like why this? Like he's always got a new story that he completely sells.
Yes.
Yeah. But it builds that character so much that like none of his backstories make sense to me because he's crazy. Like,
And at that point, you start asking yourself, maybe does it even matter? Because this is who I'm dealing with.
Yes. Yeah.
I've never considered that. That's interesting.
And I almost had the feeling during those scenes, like he's trying to tell you that it doesn't matter.
Sure. It's like the money doesn't matter. Like all that stuff,
Oh my gosh, that's anarchy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's complete chaos. Is you can choose what you want to believe about why I am this way, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So that's actually a great example. Then it does fall into that villain category that we were talking about earlier, but just where you don't need that much of a background for that character.
Right.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I like when people's damage is like, even just people's damage affecting them in good ways. Like, my own character, Koya, like she's driven out of her home, spent her lot of time alone. So she's very good at being a loner, but like put her in situations where there's like teamwork and she's sort of like, how does that work?
Yeah. I was hoping you were going to bring up Koya because I thought that she's a good example of like, she has, I feel like I know enough about the history of that time that what the story that you told for her, I was able to add with my own knowledge. So I'm a little biased going into it, but it helped me. Like you left room almost for like the reader to have room for those happy accidents, if that makes sense.
But the more background you create for a character, the more it allows people to have a bias.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like your main character, you're the son.
Yeah.
Kelamani.
Kamani.
I like Kelamani.
Yeah. Kamani. I know it's close.
Yeah.
But he's very, very much a loner in some ways too, because he's like everyone else knows something he doesn't.
Right.
And he senses that. And so that makes him a little bit more of a loner. Right. And maybe probably like, I don't know how, like I haven't gotten very far. I have started. I haven't gotten very far into book 2 yet.
Thank you.
And it's not answered yet because it's more like a prequel in a sense.
Yeah.
But I could see you writing that in to when he has to deal with like other people being part of a team. It might be a little bit stilted at first because he's like, he's used to being singled out very deliberately.
Right.
And actually that's a good point. Like I want to talk about Salil for a little bit, if you don't mind, only because like Oscar, what you're talking about, like the prequel sequel is book 1 now. Sorry if I don't want to spoil anything.
Not to confuse anybody either.
But only because I think that's such a wonderful example of you wrote initially the first book that was the first story that came to you. And then, I'm sorry, guys, I'm speaking for him.
It's okay.
Then you realize that Salil, the mother character, is the main character of the story.
Right.
And then you expanded on her background and we reformatted it. I say we, it was all him. To make that the first book, the first like intro that you get for your story.
Right. And to that point, it's like now that I had all that background knowledge of one of the people, the magic system, the monsters, the creatures, and I was able to use that then as a good like background to write this other one. So I didn't have to do so much heavy lifting too.
Yeah, all the world building adds to the back. World building is part of background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of character background. It's part of plot background. All 3 legs have a background.
Right. And it's interesting too, because then as I was making more characters, and this is, I think, where it comes to the choices, whether or not you put more or less, is I had her against Salil against a bunch of different racers. And I didn't really care about who they were at first. I was just like, that's the funny one. And that's the nice one. And that's like,
archetypes filling in the gaps. Yeah.
And then, but as I go through it more, it was more so that it's like, oh no, these are becoming real fleshed out people. I've got to make a backstory for these people because they're now not just important to me, but important to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how much I gave them wasn't a lot, not like Salil, who's the main character, but they became more fleshed out,
Sometimes just writing a paragraph in your notes does a world of good. I mean, again, I found that out the hard way through running RPGs. But excuse me. I think that like getting back to that point of like how much is enough, how much is too much, whatever. If you take the analogy like we've talked about before, like you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. There's still a little bit under the surface of where's that line between too much, too little? That's sea level,
Sure. Yeah.
And like, there's still a little bit below sea level that you can see, well, there's something there. It's kind of blurry. And then there's like more beyond that. But if the background you wrote stops, if all you wrote like stops at what's on the page, people sense that.
Oh, sure.
Because it's like being able to see the bottom of an iceberg at the surface of the water. You're like, I can see there's nothing underneath that.
Right.
You need to do at least that much to where people can't see the bottom anymore.
Yeah.
But like you said, feel that these people are more complex than just that first surface level. Yeah.
Yeah. That they're going to have consistent reasons for doing what they do. I mean, I did the same with my crew, all the secondary characters, and I had to do it more as I wrote. I didn't just pre-do it immediately because I'm like a savant or something about that. Like, no, like my writing takes me in places I didn't expect. And now I have to write more background on Justin or whatever. And Justin even evolved as a catch-all character, like a fix-it guy.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, but I like him. I want him to be more of a character. Mm-hmm. So, just write that in.
It's funny too. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. It's also funny how certain people will attach to certain characters. Like, let's say somebody really loves Justin, but I think of the Avatar: The Last Airbender, and
I think of it a lot.
Yeah, no, you do. But there's a character on there that people just absolutely love, and he's such a important NPC B character, and he's the cabbage guy.
The cabbage guy. Cabbage man. Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. But see, you laugh. But I mean, if you knew who and it just
sounds like the most cartoon thing I've ever heard.
Literally, because it's such a his.
This is from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. The cabbage guy.
It's literally a guy with his cabbage cart. And he's selling cabbage in the city of Bossing Say, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's everywhere. It might just be Bossing Say.
But his cart keeps getting destroyed, and he's like, "My cabbage
from Aang, and the gang."
It's like the Kenny of the show.
Oh my god! Yes. It's
they
consistent.
Killed cabbages,
and he cares about his cabbages, and the gang does not.
Yeah. And he's just always in the conflicts and just getting his cart destroyed. And people just love him. But there's no backstory. No one knows where he's from, though. He's the cabbage guy. That's all you need to know.
He's sympathetic because you always feel bad for him and his cabbages.
Yes. And so another great example of very little backstory, but again, people cling to it.
Yeah.
I think that also just goes to show that people will, if they sympathize with a character, even just a tiny bit, if it happens consistently, their brain will go, I love them. Mm-hmm. I need to take care of them.
Without getting into any detail, because I don't want to go there, but you see people doing this in politics too, where they they overemphasize a little bit of their own backstory to become a sympathetic character and get more votes and stuff.
Yes.
It's
when I was in the war,
ethos or pathos. I forget which one it is.
I think it's pathos.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. All the Greek terms from old tragedies and whatnot.
Sure.
I studied it and forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that, you get the antithesis of backstory, like you said, with you get archetypes or just even place fillers, like some bad guy, some random person that, they're just going to get killed, or I just need an innkeeper with a name. I don't have to make up anything about them. And then, maybe that comes back to haunt you or something. And sometimes you really don't want too much backstory for some characters because it derails the story.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I
don't know if you guys have any examples of that, but
I do. So I think about, there's a game called Disgaea, and it's a turn basis RPG. You move a character, you do attack, and then you move another character. If you ever played a turn-based like tactical RPG, there's a character literally like, because it's a funny, just kind of jovial anime-esque kind of Japanese story, but there's a character called Mid Boss. His literally name is like Mid Boss. He's the mid boss and everything.
Mid-level management.
And I think, yeah, basically. and don't get me wrong, because I really haven't played a lot of the games, so forgive me. But I think like every time he tries to build a story, they keep stopping him. Like, you're not important enough to have a backstory. Like, you know,
it's like the guy in the whole Monty Python's Holy Grail who keeps starting to sing, and his dad's like,
no.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah. He's going to sing. He's going to sing. Yeah. But what else I was going to say? But there's a movie, like one of the things I like about background, and when they do it well, especially when you're experiencing the story and they build the background as you go, is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You ever seen it?
Nope.
Jim Carrey. It's a wonderful movie about where he goes through like a bad relationship and he just wants to forget like all these memories of her because it's pain. It's so painful to him. And so he goes through this like little thing where they put a helmet on him, and it basically is like, it's going to feel like you had a really bad hangover or whatever they tell him. And he is erasing his memories, but while his memories are being erased and he's like kind of unconscious, he's reliving them. And they start exploring how they got together, how they like what fell apart, how everything goes along. But it's this wonderful, like almost dream sequence because they're moving from memory to memory. And that's how they're building the backstory. Like, you know, nothing really about them until he starts going through those memories. And it's kind of a spoiler, but he starts learning like, no, I don't want to let go of these, but he can't hold on to them anymore. Like, you know, so it's a great movie. It's very, very heartbreaking, but beautiful movie.
Good cry.
It's reminding me of an episode of Red Dwarf where there's one of the crew is a hologram.
Oh, okay.
And he's like never really been in love, never really had a relationship. And for like the anniversary of his death day, like other
he died, then became a hologram.
Yeah, the holograms are for people who have already died.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So like it's a hologram with their mental data. Yeah. Yes. But like his bunkmate is like tries to give him a gift. So he passes out drunk, and his bunkmate is like, I'm going to go down to the hologram simulation suite and paste 8 months of my memory into his. Like, I'm going to give him one of my old relationships.
Oh.
And I'm going to like him be in love and everything. But like, there's all the context that builds that he just didn't think through.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was working on a maintenance course at whatever tech school. And then for literally no reason, I suddenly moved to Liverpool. Did all these things.
Right.
And so like you need all of that background. If you don't really think about it, it can really easily mess you up if you just like, oh, that's going to clash.
There's a disconnect, right? You don't have any relation to it, you know? And I think that, to your point, that's what backstory does very well, is that enough of the backstories feeds the, I guess, front story of like what's happening, because like you need to know how these people react, and then now how they connect, and then that becomes a new backstory almost, like, you know.
I agree. I think it's very much it's the story breathing, the character breathing, you know, like I think that it's all connected so much, like these three, you know, borderline 4 pillars. Like if you take away one or part of one, the story's imbalanced in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and how you show backstory, that's really impacted by that 4th leg, that storytelling. How are you telling the story? Like you said, there's that everything's being told retroactively. It's like one long flashback or something.
Basically.
I know, like we were talking earlier about video games, and sometimes you're like, I don't care about the backstory. I'm playing this character. I'm going around shooting things. And, I think like one thing that reminds me of is anyone who's ever tried to look up a recipe online.
Oh my God.
And it starts off with this like,
I don't
it was all started one day in Italy. Blah, blah, blah. Like, just show me the damn recipe.
That's why they got smart, because they know that some people are like, I'm not coming to your website anymore until like you just give them a recipe, and then they have jump to recipe at the top. Like, you know, it's like, because no one's going to sit around for your dumb story. You just want to make some like carbonara. Okay.
Or you know what? At least if you give us the option to not sit around for your dumb story, we might actually read your dumb story
later after, like, it's a good recipe. Where did she get this?
I care about this person. I'm invested in who they are.
Or even just like, thank you for doing that. I'm now going to take the time as a thank you and read your dumb story.
Yeah. See, guys, it matters.
Your dumb stories matter.
All us authors will take a pity read.
That's what we need to do. We just need to put a recipe at the back of our book. And people will read it afterwards.
Yeah, that's a new line in the table of contents. Jump to recipe.
Oh my
That's the clip.
gosh, I love it. Is that the
That
episode?
too.
I think that's the name of the episode. Jump to recipe.
That's actually a better title than the one I came up
Jump
with.
to recipe.
No, I love it. Oh, but this has been a fantastic, I think, extension of this, character
Yeah.
series that we have going, because background, again, while it's interwoven or intersects, archetypes, not architects, them too.
That too, yeah.
We're the architects. It impacts archetypes. It impacts motivations. I'm saying that wrong. They're all connected is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And eventually we'll get to character agency.
Yeah,
some point.
that's coming soon.
FBI.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yes.
FBI.
Coming soon.
The character agency.
Oh.
And then we get to character assassination.
Oh.
Ooh. Archduke Ferdinand III.
Yeah.
Smear campaigns. No,
Okay. I mean,
character assassination.
I do think we could do a story or a episode about anything, honestly. Like, what's your
agree.
favorite assassination?
Oh yeah, we got all kinds of nonsense we can fill your ears with at any time.
You just have to let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Let us know in the comments. But
And
anywho.
I also think it might be useful, maybe in a little bit less so, like plot backgrounds, like like it's just, I guess that's just another word for history.
Yes.
What's the history
Says
like
the historical fiction author.
yeah, exactly. Like, what's the context for this conflict? And I'm thinking of, because I was thinking of this earlier and I thought of that one Star Trek TNG episode where there's the negotiator and he's got like the three people who speak for him, whatever.
Oh,
which seems massively inefficient to me. And it was like clearly contrived, but even so, like he's making this point that like, what's this conflict about that we're negotiating? Well, they think they say this, then these guys say that. And he's like, no. This has been going on for like 150 years. And basically making the point that at this point, it doesn't matter what the background is. It's personal now.
Yes.
So that you can get too bogged down in the background, but also that the background matters to show you how you got too bogged down in the background.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah.
It does.
It's just, at some point, this group of people hates that group of people.
Yeah.
And there's a history behind it. And you can go back 100 years and get into who started what. It'll lead you to 100 years of bloodshed. And that's a paraphrase from Babylon 5. But,
Well done.
but yeah, it's all important to sort of see like the plot background, the world building background, like the history of the natural history, the societal history and the character history all kind of arrive at this story.
No, we'll do that one sometime soon.
Yeah, sometime soon. I was going to add something, but we're out of time. So thank you guys for joining us. We've been Bards and Balladeers. Check out our other videos on our page, and we got lots to talk about. So I've been Rio.
I'm Oscar.
I'm Kate.
Check you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.